Hello, continuing with the videos, with a series of videos regarding the fundamental principles that we normally use in tactical position, in this case in the offensive organization or organized attack. Okay, we're going to talk about the last one, which is, in this case, the principle of offensive unity. Okay, as I mentioned in the videos before, you can use these principles, or you can reuse others, or you can interchange some, or whichever you find suitable for a playing model, okay? But you always have to take into consideration that they have to be tactical, okay? Like I mentioned before, like, for example, creativity cannot be a fundamental principle. Of course, you can have it present in all of them, right, or in your playing model, but it's not going to be, you're not going to have sub-principles or micro-principles regarding creativity, okay? Now, the principle of offensive unity, the fundamental specific principle of offensive unity is closely related to the familiarity and knowledge gained by players and the game model, which is in constant evolution. This principle is based on being aware of you and your teammates and the importance of how they interact, their limits and their positions in relation to opponents, okay? What we call normally in Spain is socio-affective superiority, okay? Knowing having knowledge of your teammates, their position, their characteristics, what strong points, weak points they have, okay? Tessier, Hainaut, and Benoit, 1979. In order to achieve cohesion, efficiency, and correct spacing between horizontal and vertical lines in organized attacking phase, the players must also have high tactical knowledge in order not to break the block they will assembly, which allows correct team performance, okay? Silva Rias, 1998. Through these principles and behaviors, an organization of the team is initiated that will be in charge of moving the opposing block in an organized fashion. In the event of failure in offensive actions, losing possession of the ball, for example, a new defensive temporary emergency defense will emerge, which, depending on the situation, might change again to defensive organization, which will be when all footballers are ready in place in their true positions of the team's defensive system. Organized defense, okay? This is by Teorescu, 1984. So normally when we're attacking, this is mainly what we were talking about offensive unity. Our team is going to be positioned in case we lose the ball and we lose possession of the ball. And if we do immediately, there's going to be like a defensive emergency setup. And depending on the situation, if we don't score, the other opposing team doesn't score a goal, we're able to have more players behind the ball, and that will be the face of defensive organization. Okay, this is mainly what this author is talking about, Teorescu. To play according to this principle, the team will be able to expand its lines of action without losing balance in a well-structured block, and to penetrate the opposing team in order to resolve momentary tactical game situations. Okay, so mainly the offensive unity, we're going to be talking about offensive unity when we're attacking. I think Guardiola talks about this a lot in his press conferences. We attack according to how we defend according to how we attack. Is that it's all related, it's all connected, okay? And it's basically preparing your team when you're attacking to cover the spaces of the pitch where are you find most important in order for your team to regain possession of the ball or to immediately press after losing the ball, after losing possession, okay? Or after finishing the play in a correct, orderly fashion, so you will not suffer counterattacks from the opposing team. So mainly these are movements, as we see in the blue team, where they're able to penetrate in the last third and create imbalances in the opposing team, and how that team is going to end up the play. So they will have many players on the finishing phase, on the finishing sector of the pitch, okay, on the rebound sector of the pitch, and on the balance sector of the pitch, which is in near the middle of the pitch. Okay, so your team will always be prepared in case that play does not finish in a goal or on a goal kick, to regain a rebound or regain possession immediately after outside the box or near the middle of the pitch, or they're able to delay the counterattack so that at least 7 or 8 players are behind the ball and they're able to organize defensively again, okay? So it's always like compensation movements, and so that your team is not counterattacked. In other words, okay. During a match, the characteristics of the actions of this principle can be verified through the positioning of the players on the pitch to favor continuous, fluid, and efficient movement of the ball, avoiding its interruption as much as possible. Okay, losing possession. On the other hand, all the team's actions must show confidence and security to our teammates, but also trying to create constant instability and imbalance in the opposing defense organization. Okay. So we're always going to be trying to create freeing up space, taking advantage of that free space, penetrating that space either in front of the defense or in the back of the defense. But also we're going to be creating structure so that we are always balanced in case we lose possession of the ball and we don't suffer counterattacks. Okay. Examples of some micro principles in offensive unity: facilitate the progression of our team towards our opponent's goal, allow our team to attack as a unit or as a block, offer more security in offensive actions in the build-up phase, decrease effective playing space in defensive phase or organization, execute compensation movements to prevent counterattacks or rest defense. Okay, this is what in England they call the rest defense. Okay, which will be how when your team finishes the play, how they will end up in the bottom, in the back, okay, in the defense, the defensive players, okay. Prepare to press immediately after losing possession or gegenpressing, and facilitate defensive recuperation, okay. So these are some micro principles that you can utilize, or we normally utilize, that are very common, and this is related, as I mentioned before, that Guardiola talks about this a lot, in mainly a systemic approach, okay, that we see football as a whole. So when we're attacking, we're already defending. When we're defending, we're already attacking. So we're always preparing and seeing the game as a whole, as one, okay. Things to take into consideration: zones, the finishing zone, how many players you're going to end up with your team when you finish the players. You're going to end up with 2, with 3, with 4, with 5. Okay, and the rebounds, the zones on the rebounds, which is normally a little bit outside the box. Okay, so these are normally when there will be maybe there are going to be shots or crosses that will be cut by the defense, and there, how many players will you have, where they will be. Okay, and the balance zone, which is normally closer to the middle of the pitch, how many players will you have there? Will they be doing whatever marking, which we're going to talk about now? So different types of defending. Okay, zonal, in the balance zone, this will be zonal, mixed, or man-to-man. Some teams like to do player and coaches have playing man-to-man there. Some do zone. Okay, like for example Guardiola or Klopp, they do more like zone or mixed. Okay, how our team will attack is going to determine how we're going to defend. So this is mainly what I was talking about when Guardiola talks a lot about this. Okay, so depending on how we're going to attack, this is how our team is going to defend. So the team, if our team attacks correctly, then it's going to be much easier for us to defend, and vice versa. If our team is constantly attacking without pause, without patience, with 1, with 2, with 3 players only, our team will lose the ball immediately, and then they will start. The block will start stretching. A lot of meters will occur. Will be seen between the lines. So we want our team to always attack as a block, and this is mainly what we normally find or talk about. It's so important, the positional play. Okay, how we're going to attack is always going to condition how we're going to defend. Okay, as here I'm showing an example of where are going to have the 3 areas, the finishing areas, this is theory, of course. It can be a little bit smaller, it can be a little bit larger, a line can be a little bit higher or lower, this is all theory, okay? So more or less, how many players are you going to have in the finishing area, how many players are going to have in the rebounding area, and how many players are going to have in the balance area, and how they're going to be positioned, and how they're going to defend. So if you're going to do man-to-man, or if they're going to do zone, if they're going to be if you're going to have a diamond shape, or you're going to have a square shape, or whatever you as a coach and your playing model, you will find suitable to do, okay? But the main idea is always covering these zones as best as we can. So at least having several players in each zones. So when we attack, our attacks will be efficient, okay, and not, having a cross there, for example, and having no players to finish the play, okay. As you see there are only 2 players in the finishing area. Maybe at least there should be 1 or 2 more, and maybe only 1 on the rebound area, okay. There they are 2, okay. So this is something that you have to work on, and you have to, talk to the players, work on the pitch with the players, and tell them what you pretend, what you want. So if there is a situation in this case, we could have at least 1 or 2 more players inside the box, and maybe only 1 in the rebound area, for example, right? And then in the balance area, they're more or less correctly, a little bit higher maybe, okay? So preferential stimulation situations or methodological tools. So the ways that you can work this basically is rondos and positional tasks where there is a limitation of space, okay? Attacking, why the limitation of space? Because we want the players always to know exactly in what space are they in, okay? Where are they're at, okay? Attacking collective movements with or without opposition, okay? So these are going to be movements without opposition, where we're going to end up in the rest defense and what shape we're going to have, what defensive shape we're going to have when we're attacking, okay? Like I mentioned before. Then after that, once they do it correctly and you do different movements correctly, you can start adding opposition or other actions following that action. For example, doing an attack without any opposition or movement, and then immediately after that, you finish that play, start a counter attack, or it could be a throw in from the goalkeeper or a goal kick very quickly, so that the players are covering those spaces and ready to intercept or delay the counterattack of the opposing team, okay? Of course, shadow play exercises or tasks are very useful. So you can put 2 teams, and one is going to move but not steal the ball. And immediately after that ball is finished, we can start a counterattack, as I mentioned before, or just a dead ball starting there at the whistle of the coach. So you prepare the team that's attacking already to counter or delay the counter so that they get defensive shape, defensive balance, okay? And of course, matches with constraints, okay, where you can mark the zones and the pitch, okay? So as we see there, other examples here, for example, you have an example of shadow play, okay, where there's going to be a defensive team, but they're not going to intercept the ball. They're just going to move. And there we're going to put emphasis on how we pretend our team to finish when they finish the play, the correct balance, okay, and the correct shape in the back as well, you know. Okay, so basically, this is the video regarding the offensive unity, just showing some examples of how to train them. As I mentioned before, you can use these fundamental principles as a guide that we use in tactical preparation, or you can use others that you find suitable and develop in order for you to develop your playing model of your team. Okay, so as I always mention, if you have any questions, any suggestions, this is mainly these videos and this channel is mainly focused at all the coaches who maybe are not they don't have a way to get their hands on books regarding tactical preparation or methodology we use mainly in Spain and Portugal. So basically, this is mainly a simple guide and very brief guide trying to help other coaches, to give ideas to other coaches, and maybe they can use as a complementary tool to how they train, where they learn either by playing or in the coaching courses or in other books and videos, etc. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any suggestions, any questions, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Hope to see you again when we start the defensive principles, fundamental principles. And thanks for your attention, and see you soon. Then bye bye. Take care.